Image prompt. I died on a rainy Tuesday in October. My husband's hands around my throat, his face twisted in that final feral snarl-eyed replay in hell if there was one, except there wasn't. Because the next instant, I was gasping awake in my old bed. The year, 2018. My body 28 again. Heart pounding like I'd just run from the devil himself. The betrayal hit me harder than the blackout. My brother, sweet, reliable Ethan, had lied straight to my face about where Jack was that weekend, feeding me some bullshit line about business trips while Jack was shacked up in Aspen with my best friend, plotting how to drain my inheritance and make it look like suicide. But death's a lousy editor. It cut the scene too soon. And now I'm back, flesh and fury intact, with every goddamn secret etched into my soul like a vendetta carved in stone. The first thing I did when my eyes snapped open that morning wasn't scream or pray or pinch myself bloody to wake up from whatever cosmic prank this was.
No.
I bolted upright in the queen-sized bed that still smelled like lavender sheets from Target, the kind Jack always complained were too cheap for our lifestyle, and lunged for my phone on the nightstand. My fingers, trembling, but mine, God, these hands that had clawed at his wrists in vain last time, unlocked the screen with the old passcode. 0923. Our wedding date. The irony of which nearly made me hurl. It was October 15th, 2018. 7 years before the end. The app notifications blinked innocently. A reminder for my shift at the ad agency downtown. A text from Ethan about grabbing lunch. And fuck, the security cam alert from our brownstones front door. I hadn't installed those yet in this timeline. Or had I?
No.
That was later. After the first suspicious business trip. My breath hitched. This was real. The digital clock glowed 7:14 a.m. Same as always. The East Village traffic humming faint through the window like a Bad Dreams soundtrack. I swung my legs over the bed, bare feet hitting the cool hardwood, and padded to the mirror. Nova Hale, soon to be Hale again. If I played this right, stared back. All sharp cheekbones and wild auburn curls I'd later chop short in grief. 28. Unscarred. Unfucked over.
Yet.
The woman in the reflection had fire in her hazel eyes I hadn't seen since college. Before Jack's charm and Ethan's support sanded it down to ash. Downstairs, the kitchen was a shrine to our aspirational marriage, marble counters we'd financed with my trust fund. An espresso machine Jack insisted on because real men don't do Folgers. I brewed a pod, anyway, black and bitter, letting the steam curl up like questions I already knew the answers to. Ethan had called last night. Wait. No. That was the future Ethan's voice in my head, smooth as silk, saying, "Hey,
sis.
Jack's in Chicago for that merger. Rough week ahead. Lies layered like varnish on rot." My phone buzzed. Speak of the devil's errand boy. Ethan, morning. Nova, you up? Lunch at that falafel spot on 2nd? My treat. I stared at the text, thumb hovering. In the before life, I'd said yes. Every time. Because that's what good sisters do. Ethan, 2 years older. My protector since Dad's crash and Mom's slow fade into pills. The brother who'd walked me down the aisle when no one else would.
But now?
I knew the script. Lunch meant probing questions about my mood, subtle digs at Jack's stress, planting seeds that I'd crack first. Confess my instability to the therapist he'd recommend, the one on his payroll. Me. Can't today. Deadline crunch. Rain check. His reply popped instant. Sure thing. Love you. Love you. The words curdled in my gut. I set the phone down and opened the laptop on the island, fingers flying to the Ring app. We'd splurged on the system 6 months ago, after a string of East Village break-ins made the news. Jack had rolled his eyes. Paranoid much? But installed it to shut me up. In the original timeline, those cams caught nothing but shadows until the night he came home early, rage-drunk, and found the papers I'd printed, bank statements showing the siphoned funds, emails from his lawyer buddy about accelerated divorce proceedings. But today, I fast-forwarded through the overnight footage. There, 2:47 a.m. The front door cam.
Jack.
My husband of 3 years, slipping out in his North Face jacket, duffel slung over one shoulder. That guilty half-smile as he glanced back like he owned the place.
He did.
In a way. Half mine, half his, but all illusion. I pulled up the airline app next, heart slamming like bass at a Bushwick rave. United Flight 1423 to Denver. Connecting to Aspen. Business class. One way for now. Departure in 3 hours. And there, buried in his email sync because I'd guessed his password years ago, Nova Forever 69, the sleaze, confirmation for the ST. Regis Suite.
2 nights.
Guest name, Lila Voss. My best friend since NYU. The one who'd cooed at our wedding. You two are endgame.
Babe.
Endgame.
Yeah.
For them. I'd found out too late in the first go-round, after the Aspen weekend, when Ethan innocently suggested I check the cams while Jack was traveling. That's how the title of my revenge played out. My brother said your husband's traveling, but cameras showed him vacationing in Aspen instead. The shock of it had unraveled me, led to the confrontation. The screams, the hands around my throat. Jack's alibi? Ethan? Of course. She was hysterical.
Doc.
Threatened to kill herself over nothing. Nothing. The word echoed as I slammed the laptop shut. The secret they'd buried, not just the affair, but the why. Jack hadn't married me for love. He'd married the payout. My family's old money from the Hale Textiles empire, Dad's legacy, funneled into a trust that vested at 30. I'd been 25 at the vows. Naive. Thinking his Wall Street hustle was passion. But it was calculus. He'd drained it slow. Fake investments, offshore shells, with Ethan's accounting firm greasing the wheels. My brother, the CPA whiz, the family fixer. They'd planned to leave me penniless, broken, then help me rebuild under their thumbs. And the crime?
Forgery.
Ethan had signed my name to the withdrawal docs, backdated, making it look like I'd gambled it away in Vegas. The therapist's notes, fed to the courts, painted me as bipolar, suicidal. Jack walked with the remnants, Lila on his arm, Ethan toasting at the funeral. She was always fragile. Fragile. I laughed, a jagged sound that scared the neighbor's cat yowling outside. Not anymore. I had 7 years' worth of deathbed clarity. Every lie catalogued. Revenge wasn't a plan, it was oxygen. I dressed quick, jeans, boots, that leather jacket from our honeymoon in Napa, before the rot set in. Grabbed my keys. The emergency credit card Jack didn't know I'd kept separate. The drive to JFK was a blur of autumn leaves whipping past the Honda's window. Adele crooning heartbreak on the radio like she knew. I parked in short-term, bought a standby ticket to Denver with cash from the glovebox stash, old habit for moms, just-in-case talks. On the flight, economy this time, crammed between a snoring salesman and a kid kicking the seat. I applauded. No rash moves. That's what got me killed last time, storming the cabin, phone in hand, screaming about the footage. Jack's panic. The shove down the stairs disguised as a fall. Autopsy. Accidental. They ruled. Heart attack. From stress. The coroner said, pocketing Ethan's envelope.
No.
This time, I'd infiltrate. Smile at the desk clerk. Charm the bartender. Eavesdrop like a ghost. Lila and Jack deserved the slow burn. Watch their paradise curdle. Aspen hit like a slap of crisp air and privilege as I deplaned in Eagle County. Rental Ford Fusion eating the miles to Red Mountain. The St. Regis loomed. All timber and glass. Valets in crisp uniforms eyeing my city girl vibe. Reservation under Voss. I murmured to the front desk, flashing a forged ID I'd printed at Kinko's en route. Nova Voss. Sister to Lila. Child's play with my graphic design chops. Welcome.
Yes. Voss.
Your sister checked in with Mr. Hale earlier. Suite 412. The clerk's smile was plastic. I nodded, pulse thundering, and took the elevator up. The ding like a guillotine drop. The door to 412 was ajar. Laughter spilling out, Lila's throaty cackle, Jack's fake baritone. I pushed in slow, heart in my throat. There they were, my husband, shirt unbuttoned, pouring champagne on the balcony overlooking snow-dusted peaks. Lila, in lingerie that screamed Victoria's Secret clearance, draped over the chaise like she owned my life. Nova. Jack choked on his flute, bubbles fizzing over. Lila bolted upright, sheet clutched like a shield. I smiled, the kind that hides knives. Surprise. Brother said you were traveling.
Jack.
But the cameras? They don't lie. The room went tomb silent, save the wind howling outside. Their faces pale, caught were the first crack in their perfect con. And I was just getting started. Jack recovered first. That salesman grin, snapping on like a mask. Babe, Nova. What the hell? This isn't. He set the glass down, hands up in surrender, stepping toward me like I was a spooked client pitching derivatives. Lila hovered behind, eyes darting to her phone on the coffee table, probably calculating how fast she could text for an Uber out of this nightmare. I didn't budge, leaning against the doorframe, arms crossed to hide the shake in my fingers. The suite smelled of sex and sandalwood cologne, his always too much, like he was compensating for something. In the before time, I'd laughed it off, bought him the bottle for Christmas.
Now,
it was just another thread in the noose. Isn't what? Jack? Business? That's what Ethan said. Chicago merger. Right? Tough week. I let the words drip slow. Venom-laced honey, watching color drain from his face. He was good, Wall Street shark, closing deals on charm and coke, but I knew his tells now. The jaw tick, the way his left hand flexed like it itched to grab. Lila found her voice, high and brittle.
Nova.
Honey, it's not what you think. We were just
talking about you.
Jack's worried. And I. Worried. I barked a laugh, stepping inside, letting the door click shut behind me. The room was a betrayal diorama, rumpled king bed. Her heels kicked under the minibar, his ski pass on the dresser like a taunt. That's rich. Last I checked, worried husbands don't book penthouse suites with their wives' best friends. Or did Ethan forget to mention that part? Her eyes widened at Ethan's name. A flicker of something, guilt? Complicity? I'd unpack that later.
For now.
I needed them off balance, spilling without realizing. I sauntered to the balcony, glass doors fogged from their heat, and peered out at the aspens glowing gold in the late afternoon sun. Paradise. For suckers. Jack followed. Close enough, I could smell the champagne on his breath. Look, this was a mistake. One night. Stress from the firm. You know how it is. Lila and I, we go way back. NYU days. But I love you. Nova. You're my rock.
Rock.
The word twisted like a knife. In the original script, this was the speech that worked. Tears, apologies, couples therapy that Ethan recommended. I'd bought it. Hook and sinker. Until the bank alert started pinging. $50,000 here. $100,000 there. Vanishing into consulting fees for Ethan's firm. Love, it was leverage. I turned.
Slow.
Meeting his blue eyes. Eyes I'd once drowned in. Way back.
Huh.
Like before the proposal? Or after you two laughed about my trust fund princess phase over drinks at the Spotted Pig?
Bluff.
But close enough. I'd hacked his texts post-death, piecing the timeline in purgatory hours. He blinked. Fraction too long.
What? No.
That's crazy. Nova, you're spiraling. Maybe we should call Ethan, he's good with this stuff. There it was. The pivot. Always to Ethan, the fixer. My brother, who'd sobbed at my memorial, then cashed the insurance check with Jack's signature beside his. No, I said, voice steel. No calls. Not yet.
Sit.
They sat, Jack on the bed's edge, Lila curling into the armchair like a scolded cat. I paced, channeling every Lifetime movie I'd binged in therapy waiting rooms. Here's the deal.
I know about the accounts.
The Cayman shells. The investments that aren't. And Ethan's cut, 10%.
Right?
For advising on the quiet divorce. Lila gasped, hand to mouth. Jack's tick went full Morse code. Divorce? Jesus.
Nova.
Where's this coming from? That's paranoia talking. We need help. Help. I snatched her phone from the table, thumbing open the messages, unlocked. Because trust. There, Lila to Jack. Last night. Can't wait to ditch the charade. Ethan's got the docs ready. Post Aspen. We're free. Followed by eggplant emojis that made my stomach lurch. I tossed it back. Her way.
Free. Cute.
From what? The wife who's funding your little fantasy? Or the sister who's too fragile to notice? She flushed crimson.
Stammering.
It's not. Ethan said you'd understand. Eventually. That you were holding Jack back. With your issues. Issues. The dam broke then. Hot tears I hadn't shed since the grave. But they weren't weakness, they were fuel. Issues? Like how I caught you two siphoning my trust last year. Or how Ethan forged my SIG on the IRA transfer. Ring any bells. Lila? Best friend. Jack lunged up. Face thunder. Enough. You're out of line. This is trespassing. I'll have security drag you. I held up my own phone, thumbing play on the audio I'd recorded at the door. His laugh. Her moan. Crystal clear. Try it. And this goes viral. Husband's gone wild. Your firm's board loves scandals. Right? SEC loves audits. He deflated, sinking back. Lila whimpered.
Nova. Please. We can fix this.
Money back. All of it.
Fix this.
As if betrayal was a leaky faucet. But I needed more proof. Ironclad. To bury them. Here's the controversial part, I said, voice dropping low. I want in. On the con. Show me the docs. The full play. Or I walk. And you two chase rumors till the feds knock. Their stares mirrored shock. Jack's calculating. Lila's horrified. It was the first decision that'd haunt me, playing double agent in my own revenge. Risky as hell. Controversial enough to make headlines if it blew. But death teaches efficiency. Half measures get you killed twice. Jack nodded.
Slow.
Like a man signing his soul.
Fine.
But you breathe a word. I won't.
Lie.
Sweet as pie. He pulled his laptop from the duffel. Password Lila Love, and opened the folder. Spreadsheets glowing with my money's trail. Emails chaining Ethan to every transfer. Pages of it forged checks. Backdated emails making me the villain. The secret they'd buried deepest. Not just theft, but the setup for my disappearance. A cabin in the Adirondacks. Vacation gone wrong, with Ethan as witness. I memorized it all. Snapshots on my phone under the table. Good talk, I said finally.
Standing.
Enjoy, Aspen. I'll see myself out.
Outside.
Snow flurried soft. The cold biting like truth. I'd bought time. Intel. But as I drove back to the airport, doubt crept. Was pulling them deeper the smart play? Or just dragging myself into the grave again? Controversial choices. That's what revenge demands. And mine were just warming up. Back in New York by midnight. The city lights smeared like accusations through rain-streaked windows. I didn't go home. Crashed at a midtown Airbnb. Anonymous queen with blackout curtains. Sleep came fitful. Dreams of hands, Jack's. Ethan's closing in. Morning brought resolve. Step 2. Confront the brother. But smart. No accusations, lures. I texted Ethan from a burner app. Nova here. Weird favor, can you pull my trust statements? Thinking of investing. Discreet. His reply, on it.
Sis.
Meet at the office?
Perfect.
His firm. Hale and Associates, no relation. Irony's joke, squatted in a flat iron glass tower. All open plan bullshit and exposed brick. I arrived noonish. Dressed corporate sharp. Pencil skirt. Blouse from Banana Republic. Hair twisted like I meant business. The receptionist waved me up. Ethan met me at the elevator. Bear hug and cologne cloud. Nova, you look intense. Everything okay with Jack? I smiled.
Brittle.
Peachy. Just empowering myself. The statements. His office was corner. View of the Empire State like a phallus of power. He spun his monitor. Pulling files sanitized. Of course. But I leaned in, accidentally brushing the keyboard, alt-tabbing to recent docs. There, Project Phoenix, code for my takedown. Subfolders, psych evals faked, from a doc pal. Asset maps. Even a draft while leaving it all to charity fronts they controlled. See anything good? He asked. Too casual. Tons. I closed the file. Met his eyes, same hazel as mine. But colder. Ethan. Hypothetically. If someone was skimming from family, you tell them. Right? He chuckled. Nervous. Skimming?
Like what?
Insider trading?
Nah.
I'd handle it quiet. Protect the fam.
Protect.
The word hung. I nodded.
Standing.
Thanks.
Bro.
Oh, you. As I left. Elevator descending. I forwarded the screenshots to my secure Dropbox. The web tightened. But controversy brewed. Ethan's next move? He'd smell the rat. Loop Jack. Time to accelerate. That night, I hit the underground, contacts from my ad days. Hackers who'd owed favors. Paid in crypto for deep dives, Ethan's offshore ties. Jack's poker debts fueling the theft. Turns out, Lila wasn't the only side piece. Jack had a gambling hole deeper than the Grand Canyon. $2 mill down to Russian bookies. Ethan covered it, dipping into my pot. The crime wasn't just fraud, it was desperation masked as malice. Armed with printouts, I drove to Ethan's Brooklyn row house, brownstone chic. Wife number 2 baking cookies inside. He answered in sweats. Surprise flickering. Nova? It's late. Family meeting. I pushed past, dropping the stack on his kitchen table. Wife, Claire. Mousy accountant, hovered. Excused herself. He scanned the pages. Face ashen. What the fuck is this? Truth serum. You?
Jack.
The money. All of it. I leaned in. Voice whisper. I know about Phoenix. The cabin. My accident. He staggered back. Hand to chair.
Nova.
You're wrong. It's protection, Jack's debts. Bad guys after him. I was saving you. Saving. The lie cracked me open. By killing me? Nice save. No, God.
No.
It was supposed to be staged. You vanish. We collect insurance. Pay them off. Clean slate. Staged. The twist hit. Not murder, but a mercy kill in their minds. Controversial as hell. Fratricide for love. Rage boiled. Wrong answer. I left him crumbling. Drove into the night. Climax loomed. Expose them. But how? Cops? Media? Or burn it personal? Decisions clawed. Risk jail for vigilante justice. Or play the long game. Death's gift, I had time. But patience? That was the real killer. The days blurred into a revenge rhythm. Mornings at the agency. Pitching campaigns with a smile that masked the storm. Afternoons digging digital graves. Feeding anonymous tips to SEC whistle lines. Nights pacing my Airbnb.
Scripting the takedown.
Jack called twice. Voicemails laced with concern. Let's talk. Deleted unheard. Lila's texts. Please. Then blocks.
Ethan?
Radio silence. But his browser history, hacked via phishing link, screamed panic. Searches for how to disappear. Best lawyers for fraud. I could have gone nuclear then, leaked the Phoenix files to the Times. Watched their empires smoke. But that was clean. American justice. The kind that lets snakes slither free on technicalities.
No.
Mine would be raw. Controversial. Make them feel the betrayal's weight. Force confessions on their knees. The kind of justice that sparks Twitter wars. Divides families. Leaves scars deeper than cuffs. First target, Lila. Easy mark. All social media armor and zero spine. I tracked her to a yoga studio in Soho, Lululemon life. Posting blessed with filters thick as her denials. I waited outside, rain sheeting the awning, until she emerged. Matte underarm. Ponytail swinging like a noose. Nova. She froze mid-sidewalk. Uber's honking chorus. I didn't expect. Life's full of surprises. I stepped close. Umbrella shared. Voice low under the downpour. Like finding your Venmo to Ethan's Shell account. $20,000 last month. Consulting? Her face crumpled. Mascara rivers. It was a loan. For Jack. Please.
Nova.
I love him. But you're my friend. Was. I shoved the printout, transaction logs, into her hands. Friendship's a two-way street. You drove the getaway car. She sobbed. Real ugly. Collapsing against a hydrant. Pedestrians blurred past. New York indifferent. Ethan made me. Said it'd save everyone. The debts, Russian mob.
Threats.
Jack was gonna die if we didn't.
Mob.
The layer peeled. Not just greed, but fear. Jack's poker vice had tentacles. Ethan's fix a pact with devils. Controversial pivot. Sympathy flickered, but I crushed it. Save? By framing me?
Cute story.
Tell it to the feds. No. She clutched my sleeve.
Desperate.
I'll testify. Against them.
Just.
Don't ruin us all.
Us.
The delusion. I pried free. Walked away. Her cries swallowed by traffic. Seed planted. Lila cracks first. Domino one. Back home, wait. Not home. The brownstone was poison now. I poured bourbon from a corner deli bottle.
Neat.
The burn mapping my nerves. The hook replayed. That rainy Tuesday. Jack's hands. Ethan's testimony. She lunged at me. Hysterical. The secret they'd chiseled deepest? Mom's death wasn't pills alone. Dad's crash? Brake lines cut. Covered as drunk driving. Ethan knew forged the tox report for insurance. Hale legacy, blood money, all of it. My trust? Built on ghosts. Drunk clarity hit. Expose the root. Unravel the tree. I called an old flame. Derek, PI from college. Now freelance dirt digger. Nova Hale. Been a minute. What's the play? Family skeletons. Dad's crash. 2005. Pull everything. He whistled. Cold case? That's federal ice. Costly. Name your price. I wired half. The controversial chunk from my untouched savings, ironic. Dipping into the tainted well. Derek delivered gold by dawn. Photos of Ethan's car at the impound that night. Tire treads matching. Witness statements buried in civil suits. Even a journal scan from Mom. Pre-pills. Ethan's hiding something. The accident. Not right. The full betrayal. Ethan. 16 then. Jealous of Dad's favor. Sabotaged the brakes for a joyride gone wrong. Insurance payout seeded his firm. My trust the interest. Jack. Married in to milk it. Lila. Collateral thrill. I confronted Ethan at dawn. His brownstone door yielding to my key, sister perk. He was in pajamas. Coffee mug mid-sip. Claire snoring upstairs. Nova? What the? I slapped the dossier down. Photos fanning like accusation cards. 2005.
Breaks.
Mom's journal. All of it. He dropped the mug. Ceramic shattering like trust.
How?
Face crumpling. Not denial, surrender. It was an accident. Dad was selling the company. Cutting me out. I just wanted to scare him. Brake fluid leak. Timed for the drive. But he swerved wrong. Into the ravine. The confession hung. Air thick. I gripped the counter, nails digging wood. Scare?
He died.
Mom followed. And you built your life on the lie. Tears tracked his stubble. I fixed it. For us. The money, school. Your wedding. I protected you. Protected. The word again. Twisted. By killing me too? Phoenix was payback for Dad's ghost. He shook his head.
Wild. No.
Jack's idea. The deaths spiraled. I tried to stop it.
But.
Family first.
Family.
The irony choked me. Controversial urge. Hug him. Forgive the boy he'd been. But the woman I died as? She demanded fire. You're done. Resign from the firm. Wire every cent back. Or this, I tap the photos, goes public. Front page. Brother kills for legacy. He nodded.
Broken.
Okay. For you. I left as Claire stirred. The house a tomb of secrets unearthed. Victory tasted ash, Ethan dismantled. But the core?
Jack. Pulsed on.
Climax brewed that week. Jack's firm gala. Black tie at the plaza. Power players toasting fortunes. I RSVP'd as +1 his. Ironically. Dress, red. Slit to thigh. The color of warnings. Hair down. Curls wild. Makeup smoky. Eyes screaming intent. The ballroom glittered, chandeliers dripping light. Suits and gowns swirling like sharks. Jack spotted me across the crowd. Tux sharp. Lila on arm in silver sheath. He excused. Approached. Smile predatory. Nova.
Didn't expect you.
Looking. Dangerous. Surprise is my brand. I clinked his flute. Lips to rim, but no sip. Heard about the SEC inquiry. Tough break. His eyes narrowed. What did you do? Nothing. Yet. I leaned in, breath ghosting his ear. But Phoenix? Your debts? Ethan's confessing as we speak. To everything. Panic flashed.
Raw. Bitch.
You think you can. I slipped the USB from my clutch, recordings. Ethan's breakdown. Lila's sobs. Transaction audio. I can.
And I will.
Unless you walk.
Now.
Sign the divorce. Forfeit the assets. Or this hits every inbox by morning. He snatched for it. I danced back. Security glancing our way. Lila hovered.
Pale.
Jack. The room spun whispers, eyes on us. Phone subtle. Controversial zenith. Public humiliation. Or private ruin. He deflated. Shoulders slumping.
Fine.
You win.
Win.
The word echoed hollow as I watched him slink to the bar. Lila trailing. But revenge's high-crested quick, doubt-flooded. Was this justice? Or just trading my soul for their chains? The fallout cascaded like dominoes in a windstorm. By Monday, Ethan's resignation hit the wires. Personal reasons. The press release lied. But whispers swirled. Embezzlement. Family implosion. He wired the funds back. Every dime plus interest. Then vanished to a cabin upstate. Ironic echo of Phoenix. Claire filing papers from a lawyer's office in White Plains. Lila? Cracked wide. Spilling to the feds in a plea deal. Full immunity for testimony on the fraud ring. Her Insta went dark. Last post a black square caption sorry not sorry. Jack fought dirtiest. Divorce filings landed hot. Alienation claims. Painting me the siren who lured his vulnerable ass. But my lawyer, hired Prairie Birth. Sharp as a stiletto, countered with the USB trove. Psych, evals debunked. Even Mom's journal authenticated via Derek's forensics. The judge, a noble Bronx native, eyed him like yesterday's trash, mister.
Hale.
Your house of cards is folding.
Settle.
Or I'll fold it for you. He settled. The brownstone mine. Alimony waived for the clean break. His firm severing ties amid SEC probes. The Russians? Feds flipped him for bait. Wire fraud charges stacking like poker chips. Last I heard, he was in witness protection. Some nowhere town flipping burgers. Lila's ghost texts his only company.
Me?
Nova Hale. Reborn Phoenix. Sold the brownstone for a Tribeca loft. Views of the Hudson. No ghosts. Quit the agency for freelance design. Gigs for nonprofits. Women's shelters. Anti-fraud NGOs. Therapy. Real this time. No Ethan's puppets. Unraveled the scars. Not just betrayal, but the girl I'd buried under good wife armor. Ethan resurfaced months later. Letter postmarked Ithaca, sis. I can't fix the unfixable. But the truth about Dad? It ends with me. Use the money for good. Forgive if you can. Love always. I burned it in the loft's fireplace. Ashes swirling like absolution denied. The twist? Peace wasn't the win. It was the controversial ache. Understanding their whys didn't erase the hows. Ethan's jealousy. A teen's rage at Dad's shadow. Jack's debts. A gambler's spiral into abyss. Lila's complicity. Love's blindfold. Human. Horribly. I toyed with mercy once. Post-gala. Offered Jack a parachute. Rehab. Fresh start. He spat it back. Fuck your pity. So I pulled the lever. Ruins for ruins. But in the quiet nights, staring at city lights, I wondered, did rebirth save me? Or just delay the grave's pull? Death's echo lingered. Hands phantom around my throat, not theirs, but fate's. Yet here I am. 30 now, wait. 28 plus 2. Timelines blurring, sipping coffee on my balcony. Autumn crisp again. No husband. No brother shadowing. Just Nova. Fierce. Unapologetic. The hook that yanked me back? Maybe not shock. But second chances snarl. Live louder. Love wiser. Revenge as teacher.
Not chain.
And if controversy calls, headlines still buzz. Heiress exposes dynasty of deceit. I lean in. America's all drama. Boardrooms bleeding. Families fracturing. Truths ugly as sin. But in the tension, the stretch between fall and flight, that's where we rebuild. Stronger. Unbreakable.
Alive.